Hello everyone, this is Jonathan Bell. Now, last year I made a video saying that I will no longer make any more movie reviews due to the COVID-19 pandemic closing down movie theaters until further notice. And around that year, after reviewing Onward, I was supposed to review DreamWorks Trolls World Tour, but the pandemic caused the film to be streamed on April of 2020. But now, with theaters and other locales reopening this year, I'm back to review movies that are released theatrically, preferably animation. Now, there'll be some good news and some bad news. While the good news is that while theaters are reopening, the only downside is that during the summer, they'll be releasing animated atrocities and mediocrities, starting with DreamWorks Spirit Untamed. This film is based on the 2002 hand-drawn Spirit Stallion Cimarron and the 2017 television Netflix series Spirit Riding Free. Before watching this film, I had to watch several episodes of Riding Free, and from where I'm watching it to prepare my review with fresh eyes, I found it to be either or just okay at best, because the few episodes had some representations of what's dangerous out there, like mountain lions or wolves, whatever. But that's not the point. So it's just a little info, just heads up before watching this film. Now, after watching Spirit Untamed in theaters, it was like a TV show. It was to me. Starting with the story, I'm gonna make comparisons to the original 2002 film of Spirit Stallion and Cimarron. So, this is just the typical boy and his dog story, or in this case, a girl and his horse story, with just a bunch of cattle rustlers out in the West wanted. With the original, well, it was about Spirit, a wild horse captured by colonel soldiers to be broken in stables. He learns to trust which humans that are like him and find friendship along the way. This film is none of that. I could say it just lacked the ambition of Jeffrey Katzenberg's vision of the original. And the action scenes are just generic and don't even capture the epicness of the escape scenes. I'll show you a few clips of the 2002 film to show you what I mean. And finally, it's just the usual DreamWorks jokes with the average gas humor, all that stuff, you know. So, over the course of the film, it just plays out just this bland version. Say, like being told several times, like with E.T. And another DreamWorks film I want to compare this to is Abominable. Like, it's mostly about a girl and its Yeti. I would prefer that story was well told and more engaging than this story. Now for the animation it just lacks beauty for the most part. Like with the original digital animation with a mixture of hand-drawn with computer animation, that stuff, this film has none of that. Just generic CGI. And speaking of which, from the television show, this animation's just upgraded with just no detail whatsoever. Here's a few examples of amazing work.
You're in my heart, the only light that shines there in the dark. Oh, 'cause I wanted to fly, so you give me your wings, and time held its breath so I could see, yeah, and set me free. When I was alone, you came around. When I was down, you pulled me through. And there's nothing that I wouldn't do for you.
Now for the character designs, there were numerous changes that were unlike what were designed in the Netflix series. Here's a good example of what I am. See the character designs on the pals, which I'll get into later. Most of the changes would revolve around their hair designs, for the most part. And there's nothing much to talk about. The animation, more like it's just standard CGI animation. The characters, all the characters are just generic tropes, and they don't even capture the charm of what the original directors of the original Spirit, Kelly Asbury and Lorna Cook, captured. Starting with Lucky, like they reduced, like new filmmakers reduced her from the Netflix series Adventures Girl with friends, like she's just a girl who moved into a new town, into this troublemaking girl who wants adventure. That's all there is to it. As for her family siblings, Jim and Aunt Cora, they're just the warring parents. Like with the former, he's just the overprotective father. Nothing interesting about them. And now for the villains, the Cal Rustlers and his henchmen, I would say they're generic, and I would mostly call them a carbon copy of Alameda Slim and the Woolley Brothers gang from a Disney film, Home on the Range. With the original film, I say the Colonel, he might be the villain, but I find him a solid villain because he might have his reasons of why most horses should be broken and why they shouldn't. The final character I like to talk about is Spirit himself. All I can say is that in this film, they've butchered him like in the original film, like he was a wild free horse who represents bravery, determination, and responsibility. But those three things, well, here in this film, there is nothing amazing about him, since he's just the pet who wants to ride free, and that's not how you represent Spirit. It's just a disgrace. See, these characters, there's nothing good about them, but nothing bad about them either. They're just plain bland. All in all, I would say that DreamWorks Spirit Untamed, along with Spirit Ryan Free, is like the embodiment of what the 2002 hand-drawn Spirit of the Cimarron isn't. Instead of an ambitious story, it's just a generic one. Instead of beautiful animation, it's just standard animation. And instead of charming characters, they're just one-dimensional tropes. And my recommendation for this film is just skip this film, and if there's any chance you would find the original Spirit, then it's best to stick with that film. It has more of that craftsmanship of veteran James Baxter. Oh, also at the end of the credits, this film was dedicated to Kelly Asbury, the original director of the original Spirit, who passed away last year. Yeah, it's best to respect his work by watching the original. As for this film, it gets a 4 out of 10. It's an film. Join me next time and I'll be reviewing another DreamWorks film called The Boss Baby Family Business. Yeah, I'm not excited for this film. And before watching that film in theaters, I need to watch Back in Business on Netflix first before getting to this film. But who's to say? I'm glad I'll be reviewing movies that are released in theaters, preferably animation, once again. Finish off where I'm started. Stay tuned and